After years of living in the city, he finally returned to his hometown with his mother for summer vacation. In his head, he pictured something cinematic. A quiet reunion, warm hugs, maybe even a comment like, "Wow, you've really grown." Instead, the town looked exactly the same. The same narrow streets, the same summer heat pressing down like a memory that never left. And his destination was Haruto's house, his boisterous best friend, always laughing and always dangerous with his old stories. The first person he met was Hinano, Haruto's older sister, standing there with a warm smile. "It's good to see you," she said kindly. "You're taller now, I think." He realized something instantly. In the city, he felt like an adult. Here, he was still the kid who tripped during the school relay race. They sat there chatting with each other as if nothing had changed. They sat there chatting with each other as if nothing had changed. Hinano always chuckled his somewhat naive answers. And strangely, it didn't sting. It felt familiar. Not cruelly, not mockingly, just instinctively, like someone who had been holding on to a story for years and finally found the right moment to release it. He laughed along, of course, but beneath the laughter, something uneasy moved inside him. Why did he need them to see him as changed? Why did he crave proof that the years away had transformed him into someone impressive? Perhaps because the city had quietly taught him that worth is performance, that maturity means composure, that success means distancing yourself from childishness. And here, in a single sentence about a toy, that polished identity cracked. That night during dinner with his mother, he caught himself smiling at nothing. The teasing, the embarrassment, the way no one treated him like he had to prove anything. In the city, every conversation felt like a resume. What do you do? Where do you work? What's next for you? Back home, the only question was, are you still afraid of bugs? And somehow, that felt lighter. Here, no one was asking about his 5-year plan. Haruto didn't care about his resume. Hinano didn't care about his polished tone. His mother certainly didn't care whether he sounded impressive. They cared whether he was still himself. Here, his history wasn't a liability. It was context. He didn't need to appear impressive to be accepted. He didn't need to edit the narrative. The embarrassing memories were not stains. They were threads. They proved continuity. They proved he had always been human. And for the first time since arriving, he stopped trying to measure himself against the city's version of growth. Maybe maturity wasn't about replacing who you were. Maybe it was about integrating him, the boy who cried, the teenager who bragged too loudly, the adult who learned to speak carefully. All of them were still him. And somehow, under that fading summer sky, that realization felt steadier than any promotion or polished introduction. The summer did not end with a dramatic farewell. No grand speeches, no cinematic promises to change. Just a quiet morning. Now he understood something he hadn't before. Growth is not subtraction. He no longer needed to prove he had outgrown where he came from, because he hadn't outgrown it. He had grown from it. And maybe that is the difference we all need to understand. If you ever return to a place that remembers your unfinished version and you feel exposed, Ask yourself this. Are you truly being diminished? Or are you being reminded that you are always more than your current performance? Sometimes, the people who tease you about your past are not dragging you backward. They are protecting the parts of you that the world might convince you to abandon. And maybe, just maybe, the version of you who once cried over a broken toy is not someone to hide. He is someone to thank.